I think we can start. Again, hello everyone. We are delighted to welcome you to our today's webinar dedicated to Sister Libraries program of IFLA section Libraries for Children and Young Adults. My name is Anton Purnik. I'm a moderator of today's event, and also I'm coordinator of the Sister Libraries working group, also standing committee member of IFLA section Libraries for Children and Young Adults. We have a big group, working group in this program. It's me, Maria Alexiusson from Sweden. Hello, Maria. Emika Goeko from Japan, Ton Larsen Rogne from Norway, Razina Akhtar from Bangladesh, and Maria Alexeyeva from Russia. Please know that our webinar will be recorded. After the webinar, we'll have a Q&A part where you'll be able to ask your questions. But if you want to ask a question or to share your comments during the presentation, please put it in the chat box. Not just questions, but whatever you want. Just say hello, maybe. And please add the name of the person you want to get answer from. Yes, for it's not to be a public question for no one. Before we start listening to our today's presentation, we are very happy to share with you some welcoming words from Marian Martens, who is chair of our IFLA section of Libraries for Children and Young Adults. She is associate professor of the School of Library and Information Science at the Kent State University. So let me share with you the video.
Martens and I. Greetings and welcome to the Sister Libraries webinar. I'm Marianne Martens and I'm chair of IFLA's Libraries for Children and Young Adult section. Sister Libraries presents a unique opportunity to join an international community of librarians serving young people. By participating, you will share best practices with sister libraries around the world. For example, if you're a librarian in the United States, you might partner with a library in Kenya and learn about how libraries in Kenya handle outreach to young people. And that information might inform your own library practice at home. You might be able to organize a visit to each other's libraries and see how libraries are serving young people in different places around the world in person. Or you might co-create a program that you could present at a future Congress, like the World Library and Information Congress held by IFLA each year. No matter whom you partner with, by participating in the Sister Libraries program, you'll participate in a cultural exchange that will teach you about another country or culture, that will enrich your own library service, and that will foster international friendships and collaboration. Whether or not you're able to meet in person, participating fosters global citizenship through libraries, and you'll learn that the world is far smaller than it may seem, especially when it comes to libraries serving young people. Thank you so much for attending today. We hope that you will get a lot out of it and that you'll be encouraged to join the Sister Libraries initiative. Thanks so much.
Anton, microphone. Sorry, you're muted.
Sorry. Oh, I'm so so many thanks to Marianne for her words. And there are many different things in our Sister Libraries program. It's not that easy, so we decided to make a special presentation about our program, and we'll make some words about it. And my colleague, Emika Goeko, she's librarian of the Tokyo Children's Library. She will give us the main info about the program. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you, Anton. Hello, my name is Emiko. I'm working at Tokyo Children's Library and also a member of this Sister Library working group. And yeah, Sister Library is a program of IFLA section libraries for children and young adults. It encourages children's libraries to build a partnership, exchange views and experiences, collaborate and develop joint programs for children and young adults reading. The program was launched in 2009, and it brings together about 140 libraries of more than 58 countries. And the concept of the sister library has been seen to be, The concept of sister library has been seen to be very beneficial and rewarding for many libraries. The exchange of knowledge, information, resources, experience, and good ideas on library work for children and young adults with colleagues abroad opens up new possibilities and can even help overcome difficulties faced. It also aims to circumvent professional isolation and stagnation and provides a channel for professional stimulation, motivation, and dialogue. The value of the program is further enhanced with the endorsement from an international body, IFLA, and the cross-border collaborations. With this, libraries can get better opportunities for support from authorities and also divert their attention to the importance of children and young adults reading. And to join in the program, you don't need to be an IFLA member. Participants can be public libraries, school libraries, or organizations working with libraries. The training is embedded in the institutions. It is not just something the librarians do on personal basis. An individual librarian at each library must be identified as the key contact to ensure continuity and sustainability of the relationship. Libraries choose what to do according to the degree of involvement they want. The first thing is to get to know each other by email, Skype, Zoom, SMS, or by writing and through pictures of the library and the staffs. Then paired libraries can collaborate in three main directions. One, create joint content, projects, activities, and it could be digital as well. Two, staff exchange and visits. Three, object exchange, books or exhibitions. After establishing a partnership, you are strongly encouraged to share your experiences, ideas, activities, best practices, and challenges concerning your partnership with other sister libraries and also with the whole library community. There are several ways to do this as shown, and we can also get some good examples today. Now you want to join in this wonderful program? Here are the tips. First, you need to fill in and send an online registration form, and then find libraries that interest you in the list of participating libraries and make connections with them via email. And once the partnership is decided, please inform our information coordinator of our section. Then the list of participating libraries will indicate the libraries has been paired. For more details, please visit the official Sister Libraries website. Thank you.
Emika, thank you very much. And I just want to remind, if you want to ask some questions, you can make it right in the chat box. So now we can move to our today presentations. We have presentations today from already sister libraries, paired sister libraries and their experience, and to speak about their experience in partnership projects and initiatives for children and young users. Besides, we have speakers from libraries who are not yet in the program, but who has held successful collaborative projects or initiatives with partners at their libraries, which they would like to share with us. So I'd like to introduce our first speaker. The first speaker today is Desiree Thomas. She is Youth Services Librarian in Columbus, Ohio, United States. So, Desiree, welcome. We're waiting for you.
Hello, everyone. I am so thrilled to be with you today. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, it's great. Thank you.
Okay, because I could hear some background noise, so it's getting a little bit.
We'll check all those people.
Okay. So my name is Desiree Thomas. I'm a youth services librarian in Worthington, Ohio. I have been working for libraries for 24 years, and I have a passion for youth services and readers advisory. I've also been a volunteer coordinator with youth for the past 18 years. So today we're going to talk a little bit about different ways that you can cultivate different experiences for the young users in your library. So we're all seeking to do a little bit of good in the world, right? And the best bit of good that I believe that we can do is by planting seeds of goodness in the young people that we see every day, right? So when we think about programming, everything from establishing programming, once you've established that program, you're going to need administrative support. And then at the very end, I would like to give you some examples of in-reach and outreach programs that we collaborated at our library to create. So establishing programs. What I did as a youth services librarian is I talked to the teens that were coming into the library every day. And the conversations always revolved around food, school, sports, and dating. So I used that information to create some programs. So the first program that I created, and this is an example of in-reach where your teens are coming into the library, is the Athlete of the Week. So if they were a basketball star, a football star, they could be the Athlete of the Week. They filled out a questionnaire with information about themselves. And what that did was draw more people and more teens specifically into the library because they wanted to show off. They're like, hey, I'm the Athlete of the Week. Piggybacking off of that, I created the Artist in Residence because we had a lot of teens that would come in and just spend hours drawing. So they would do a little showcase in the library. Again, I was trying to draw more teens into the area. But the favorite one for me, at least, was exploring the world through snacks. We partnered with a local grocery store that had specialty food items from around the world. And I would get all of these snacks. I created this passport. The teens would go snacking with this passport. Then I would ask them about the countries they visited. They would tell me about their trips. I would learn a lot more about their life outside of the library. I was building a relationship and making this a safe space for them to be. The fun one was the escape room because they had to work together. So they learned collaborative skills to try to break out of the room in a certain amount of time. So most of the other ones, the first four examples are examples of fun programs. What not to wear was fun, but it was also educational because a lot of those teens were going to get jobs. I gave them an example of what a good interview experience is and what a bad interview experience was. So I had two of my colleagues, one, I wrote both scripts, but one came dressed perfectly. They did the whole, here's my name, here's my CV, and this is beautiful. And then my other colleague came in a t-shirt with a leprechaun riding a unicorn. Okay, so hat backward. So from that, I started a conversation with teens about what to wear, how to speak, and a lot of them did end up getting jobs and they felt more confident because they knew what to expect instead of being deer in the headlights. When we're considering bigger programs, I used the information that I had in the planning session to assess the needs of the teens that I was seeing. And then I also examined the library for the resources that we had. And I realized in some ways we were lacking. So that led to me researching and determining potential partners that might help me get this program that was in my head off the ground. Once I established the partners I wanted to work with, we had a meeting where we came together and designed the program together. And then after we designed the program, I went to our administration with program schematics for all the participants. And then the final thing was to launch the program. And that's how we came up with Teens Teach Tech. So the outside agencies I partnered with was the Columbus Alternative High School, because they had an internship program. So their intern needed a specific amount of hours at a specific site. And then right across the street was the Griswold Center. So I partnered with the activities director there to connect teens to the older population. And the thought behind this is teens are usually born digital. Our elderly population are getting new technology thrust upon them all the time. And they're kind of like, how do I learn this? So I thought maybe the library can be that connection point to help both the teens that were needing internship hours, but also help our older population learn the services, or actually learn technology in a safe environment. So this involved also myself and my supervisor. Once we had our meeting, I knew that the intern needed 144 hours, 4-hour shifts every Wednesday. We were going to have him from September to April. He had to have a work portfolio, and the Griswold Center needed a monthly commitment, integrated scheduling calendar with reminders that we both had access to. They needed marketing help from the library because they didn't have a dedicated PR person, and they needed a dedicated helper that would be there all the time. And as the librarian that crafted this program, of course, I needed prep time. I needed scheduled time off the desk during the program so that I could pitch in if we got too many people who wanted help, or if my intern couldn't be there. And then my supervisor needed program stats and outreach information for board packets, because we have to provide metrics on why this is a viable program. So we went to the administration with the program schematics, the time requirement for staff. We identified backup staff who could support if I couldn't be there or the intern couldn't be there. And we gave our boss access to that integrated scheduling calendar. So they were also aware of who had signed up for what shift. And we connected our branch manager with the 2 organizations that we were working with. So everybody was on the same page. So the Teens Teach Tech program was phenomenal. And it was great in 2 ways. Our teen, Travis, was amazing. We really wanted to hire him. But what it did was it gave him the hours he needed, but it also provided a connection point for teens and older adults. So he was learning about what life was like for them. They were learning about him. It was just a beautiful experience. And then the library benefited from it because seniors started coming into the library now because they saw us more as a resource, because we were going to the Griswold Center for this. So we did Teens Teach Tech. Then we followed it up with community interns, which is again another employment opportunity for teens and a professional development course for teens. And then the other outreach portion for us was going into family resource nights at the schools. In terms of in-reach, and when I say in-reach, I mean bringing the outside in. I partnered with the science teacher, Brian Genius. He ran the robotics club, so they brought their robots to the library and did a program for us. Book and Bag is a program that was with the middle school library. They would bring their 7th and 8th graders over and we would do a book club. And then from conversations with teens, I learned a lot of them had new cameras and didn't know how to use them. And I knew there was someone on staff who was amazing at photography. So I rented lighting equipment and he came in and taught them how to use their cameras. And I brought out all the props. It was just a fun time. My nephew is a DJ and they love music. So I was like, do you want to be a DJ? So we did DJing 101. And then finally, I partnered with Officer Tammy. She did a safe dating program because I was hearing a lot of angsty conversations about dating and not being sure. So she was basically explaining how to safely date and what you can do and what your rights were. So in summary, if you connect with the young people at your library via conversation, you're more likely to come up with programs that they'll want to go to. And then just be on the lookout for talented staff because there's talent all around you. And there's also outside agencies that are doing the work that you also want to do that you can partner with. But you want to work with the administrative department for success, because without their support, it's not going to be successful. And you can create a mix of in-reach and outreach programming for young people that will allow them to experience the library in multiple ways and see the library as a resource that they can continue to come to even as they age. So don't be a stranger, reach out to me. That's my email and my LinkedIn information. It's been such a pleasure just to be here in this space. Thank you for your time. And then, boom.
Desiree, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you very much. So we move on, and the next presentation will be from Britt-Marie Ringselle, Punkt Medis Youth Library, Stockholm, Sweden, and our sisters, Maria Alexeyeva, Russian State Library for Young Adults, Moscow, Russia. Welcome.
Yeah.
Hello, so nice to see you. We are many here. I am Britt-Marie and I have been working in the Stockholm City Library for over like 44 years. And finally, I retired in August last year, but I'm still very engaged in libraries for different network groups in the Swedish Library Association and also in this community. I'm also the chairman of the Library Council in the Writer and Translators Union in Sweden. And since 2005, I'm a translator from Russian to Swedish, mostly fantasy. It's my favorite genre. And right now I'm studying Ukrainian to become a translator from Ukrainian to Swedish as well.
Yeah, and I'm Maria Alexeyeva. I'm an advisor to director on international activities of the Russian State Library for Young Adults. I'm the standing committee member of the section Libraries for Children and Young Adults, and a member of the working group of our Sister Libraries project. So today we will share with you some cases of library collaboration for young users and specialists working with young adults of our libraries. So please, Britt-Marie, will you start?
Yes, and I think I will start with your name because so you, the listener, will not be like mixed up with all the name droppings, because Maria, you are called Masha with a very soft she sound. And the person that had your job before you, she was also called, her name is Maria, but she was called Masha with a not so soft. So you are like little Maria Alexeyeva, and the other Maria, she is like the big, but it's not depending on your size in any way, because you're very, very like long and strong women. You know, I met first with Anton in in Stockholm. It was before the IFLA Congress in Gothenburg in 2010. It was the director of a Russian State Library for Young Adults, Irina Mikhnova. She took a delegation from your library, and we met at the International Library in Stockholm. And when we walked through the city, I know Anton, he was really like, I went too fast. It was very hot, but we were like exercising, seeing the city at the same time as we visited Cityteket. You can see on this picture, you see Kristina Kolmainer. She was, created the first comic library in Sweden. It was in 1996. And now we were in this culture house, a very big house in Stockholm. And we also went to my place, Punkt Medis, in the Södermalm in Stockholm. And we had a very great time. It was very nice. And I was a volunteer in Gothenburg during IFLA, so we met also there. And we started to discuss how to become sister libraries. And we had this mail conversation with Big Marsha at that time. And we also got an invitation to come to your Congress in October the same year. But, you know, sometimes it's not so easy to get fundings like scholarship to go, so we didn't reach you in October, but we came successfully in December the same year. And then we met you, Marsha, little Marsha, but now you are only Marsha for the first time. When you come and welcome us at the Sheremetyevo airport, and it was really nice. And you know, it's already soon 13 years ago. It's a really long time. And as you see on the picture, we brought with us a book dragon. It was a little sister of our book snake that we had at Punkt Medis that we started knitting on at 2006. And during this day, it was very nice being there. We were very impressed by your library because you're really working hard to change the library from a quite old-fashioned, dusty place to a very modern and very, it was so nice to see all the changes you made. So the year after, in October 2011, we finally, we could get the funding and we could participate in the Library Congress. And also was the opening of the Comic Center. It was like inspired by Kristina, and you have a lot of talented people in your library in Moscow. So it was a lot of people gathering, and Kristina, she was one of the keynote speakers. And at that time, we discovered that your dragon, it had grown to 20 meters, while the book snake at Punkt Medis just reached 60 meters. Maybe can depend on who was knitting. In Stockholm, at Punkt Medis, it was mostly the visitors. But in Moscow, it was mostly the staff, and especially Irina Mikhnova. She was very good at knitting, we discovered. And your book dragon, it was carried to the scene by 8 staff members. It was really impressive to see. It was a very big dragon. And during that Congress, you gave a book snake head to the Pushkin Library in Kazakhstan for them to start their own project, like knitting a book snake. And I hope they have continued doing so. Do you know that, Marsha? Are they still knitting?
Maybe they're still knitting. Yeah. Or maybe they just share it with one more library in Kazakhstan, or
yes, we never
wherever.
know where it ends. And now you are going to continue to tell us about our joint projects, I think.
Yes. Today we'd like to share with you some cases of collaboration and actually our friendship between our 3 libraries. So we believe our ideas will be useful and inspiring for other libraries within the Sister Libraries program, because they can be easily modified, they can be easily resized according to your own interests, needs, and possibilities of your library. So we think all our cases can be divided in 3 main groups or area of activities. So the first one is implementing joint projects, both for young library users and library specialists working with this age group and with this special group of library users. So this project, it is called Step by Step. It was our first big joint project. It was a one-year photo blog and a brilliant idea to get to know each other better. So every day during the year, our libraries posted one photo with a short comment in English of interesting events, funny moments, main impression of the day. Thus, it reflected the dynamic of what's happening in our libraries in Moscow and in Stockholm. Besides, this project gave us a chance to take a fresh look at our daily routine of our libraries and discover some details in very usual things, actions and events that were interesting or entertaining for our sister libraries. So this project has received recognition from our IFLA section. We have presented it together several times at IFLA congresses. And even some libraries from other countries have implemented something similar to our original project, and we are really happy about it. And another, our joint project or content we've produced together are videos of Punktmedis and Serieteket for the Library Planet vlog. In 2014, our library came up with an idea to make a series of videos which explores libraries working with and for young users worldwide. We wanted to show library specialists and users alike the best practices from different countries, the modern libraries, how they work with their communities, what resources and opportunities they give for young users for their education, communication, work, self-expression, and self-development. And of course, some of the first videos have been shot at our sister libraries in Stockholm, in Punktmedis, in Serieteket, and there was one more video of the youth library Lava in the Culture House in Stockholm. So making these videos was a great fun for us, but it is, of course, a true promotion for the libraries, since all the videos are in English and are available on YouTube. They are also a big help when you want to introduce your library at professional events or in any other occasions. So the next thing is about professional visits. Britt-Marie, please.
Yes, and here you can see the pictures from different occasions. You see when Christina Kolomine, she had held her speech at the opening of the comic center in the library in Moscow. And you also see during this at the left down, it was in the International Library, and that was in April 2012 during the International Comic Festival in Stockholm. It came a big delegation from our sister library in Moscow. It was Dimitri, he's very good at taking photos. He had taken all these nice photos. Natalia, who was the chief of all projects, Alim, who was the head of a comic club and a very talented artist. He makes his own comics. And Sasha, who is the head of the graphic, like the comic center, and you, Marsha, of course. And we had also a master class during this event, and it was in Medborgarhuset, where Punktmedis is situated. But very sadly, during the festival on the 27th of April, it was also a memorial ceremony for Christina, who so very suddenly and unexpectedly died from cancer on the 27th of March. It was like a month before the festival. She's really deeply missed, as you understand. The next visit from you, it was in 2013, and Dmitry and Big Masha, Maria Yoseva, and Lydia, they come and visited us, and we started a book exchange project. And after this very successful photo blog project. And Masha will tell you more about it a little later. In May, I had the opportunity to visit the yearly comic festival, Komissia, in Moscow. And this was very nice event. And also, I know that Anders from Serieteket, he also visited this comic festival in some years later. Yes, it was in 2018 he was there. And in October 2015, we don't have it on the, I don't think we have it here on the, it doesn't matter. You can imagine it yourself. Linda from Serieteket and I went to the yearly Youth Library Congress together, and we also had the opportunity to invite the newly appointed Consular for Cultural Affairs at the Embassy of Sweden in Moscow, Stefan Ingvarsson. And when you had your very great 15th anniversary of the Russian State Library for Young Adults, it came a whole delegation from Sweden. You can see it up in the left corner. It was like 7 people participated, and they were really it was so nice to have them with them. They were so impressed of your library, and they continue to talk about it when we meet, of course. And the last visit, it was in 2018 in October, on another of your congresses. I went with Michaela. You have it on the right side down, yeah. Michaela Lind, Erik von Dardel, and I participated, and we were talking about working with volunteers in the library. Wasn't it so, Masha?
Yes, it was about volunteering. Yeah.
And we have also met you and I, and in different constellation. We have met at several IFLA congresses, like for example in Helsinki and Joensuu. And there, Anton and I, we had a presentation in Helsinki about our sister library project. And then we also met in Wrocław in Poland in 2017. And yes, we also went with Irina and Marina. We went to the yearly library conference in Sudak in Crimea in 2013, where we also made a presentation of our sister library project. And now I think it's your turn, Masha, to talk about book exchange.
Yeah. So what else can we do while we are sister libraries? Of course, you can exchange books or other materials for your users. In our case, we exchanged best young adult books in Russian and Swedish. First such exchange between our libraries has become the basis of one more project of our library. It is called Book Patchwork, and this is a collection of young adult books from different countries in their original languages. Actually, here you can see the photos of this exchange, and actually we've made several exchanges, and I'd say we exchanged books every time we came to each other. And one more case, you can arrange exhibitions together, or you can come with your exhibition to your sister library. That's how it was for us. Once we had exhibition of Russian comics and graphic novels in Stockholm within the Stockholm International Comics Festival. It was absolutely amazing, since we were participating in this festival at the Serieteket. We had our exhibition at the International Library in Stockholm, and we also had some additional events such as lectures of our Russian expert in comics, Alexander Kunin, and workshop of comics artist Alin Belitov at Punkt Medis. So you can see pictures of these events on this slide. And I think we can move on.
Yes, we all went through this period of the pandemic, I know, and we still kept contact during the pandemic. And you sent us direct questions, Masha. What are we doing during the pandemic? How are we coping with it, and how can we have our libraries open, and how to like change from physical meetings to digital meetings and so on. And it was published in an interview with Patrik Schylström. You see it on the left hand. Patrik Schylström, my colleague, and me in June 2020. And during that period, we in the Library Council, in the Writers and Translators Union, we wrote a report after interviewing 14 directors from different parts of Sweden about how they acted during the pandemic, about opening hours, staff situation, activities, online programs instead of physical, and how to do with like authors' visits and so on. And it was also published, you see it on the right hand, you see we didn't have any seats in the main library. All stools were up and nobody could sit, and people were very inventive. They take, the waste basket and turn them upside down just to have something to sit on, and it was like crazy during the pandemic time. But I think for the young people, they adapted best, and they were very engaged in making like digital solutions. And then we will have something about the spin-off effects, I think. The next
Yes, yeah.
It's really one very big thing with sister libraries is that we have our networks, and it can really create spin-off effects as to finding presentation and speakers for seminars in connecting fields, like the seminar about ADS in April 2021. Then you wrote me, Masha, and asked if we had some specialists in Stockholm City Library, and we sure have. Sorry. We have a specialist, Colin Alberg, but she was unfortunate. She couldn't perform in person, and she hadn't a presentation in English. And I said, give me your presentation, I will translate it. And as I were working at that time hard in the pop-up moving library, I didn't know if I could participate myself. So I asked Ingrid Kjellström, who has also been in this standing committee for this section, and now is in IBI, if she could perform and in this event. And she said happily yes, and this is really so nice that we can cooperate and do things, even if it's from the beginning it seems hopeless. It never will be hopeless. And afterwards, I know that you have published this different speaking person that took part in the seminar, and now you can all read it in Russian and in English, and it's all also on in the electronic version, isn't it so, Anton?
Yes, it's at the Academia website, and I'll put the link in the chat later. Yeah.
This is really so nice, and I can say we have discussed, Masha and I, what shall we say as final words, because now I'm on pension and I want to see what will happen. I of course will follow what's happening, because I cannot just hold myself back. And I think we were agreed on that being sister libraries, it's a never-ending story, and not a project only for 1 or 2 years, and it's over. but how to secure the continuity, so it will now, so we will see that everything goes on and it will not be dependent on special person. And this is, of course, with the help of this section, the IFLA Libraries for Children and Young Adults section. And because Masha, Anton, and Solomon are in the standing committee, together with other talented and energetic people, and with the webinars like this, where we share like experiences, we can inspire others to also start and continue to be sister libraries. Isn't it so, Masha?
I totally agree with your thoughts and with your ideas, Britt-Marie. And I'd also like to add maybe one thing. It can be an endless story, sister libraries, but you can start with the first steps with maybe small things, just one project or one initiative, and then you will see how it will continue, how new ideas will come up, and you will implement various joint activities. So thank you very much, everyone.
Dear friends, thank you very much for this great wide range of different activities. It's so many years and so many different activities. And the next presentation is from Jasna Brkic, Senior Librarian, Children's Department of Belgrade City Library, Belgrade, Serbia. Welcome.
Thank you. Just a minute. Okay.
Yes,
Hello
proceed.
to everyone. Yes, can everyone see that?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, okay. Hello, my name is Jasna Brkic, and I'm coming from Serbia, from Belgrade. Just a minute to start the DS. From Serbia, from Belgrade, and I work in the Belgrade City Library. To be more specific, I work in Children's Department of the Belgrade City Library. And we are highly engaged in organizing free educational creative workshops and programs for children and youth. You can follow us on the Facebook and Instagram to see our work. And we really use all our talents and knowledge and creativity, ideas, resources, and especially willingness to learn in order to create and organize interesting and modern and up-to-date programs and activities for children and youth, such as, I don't know, storytelling workshops, creative writing, different Kahoot challenges, gaming, arts and crafts, and everything. But it's really not always enough. We need help. We have to connect and to cooperate with others, with other libraries, with other institutions, NGOs and public as well, with other organizations and individuals. Because if we only use our own resources, it can be very limiting for our young users, because that way we deprive them of so many good things they could do in the library. So we really try to connect and cooperate as much as we can. And I can say that results are pretty amazing. Here is one example. We want really hard to keep the pace with innovative methods of working with children. We want to meet their needs of our young users, to help them be future ready, and of course to follow the IFLA guidelines for children and young adults. So we decided to introduce Technoteca, a digital makerspace, into the library. So we equipped our library with all kinds of digital tools and teaching aids and gadgets, such as 3D printer, Lego robots, VR headsets, and other stuff. But there was one problem, and the problem was who was going to run these workshops and teach kids how to use robots and 3D printers, because my colleagues and I, we are not so high-tech persons. So that was the right moment to think about partners. We did a thorough research and found, let's say, perfect partners for us. We found EduLab, an NGO organization. It is a citizen association engaged in field of advanced techniques of learning and creative use of Lego education didactic tools. And we find our other partners was Belgrade University, students of applied arts and architecture of Belgrade University. So thanks to them, we developed Technoteca project and organized a bunch of great workshops of 3D printing and programming Lego robots. So our young users, both girls and boys, got a chance to deal with computers, to deal with technology, electronic devices, robots, and applied science for free in the library with the help of, let's say, young volunteers slash experts. So then kids learn how to organize battle of robots. But they did that on their own. So other example of a good partnership is a partnership with the acting school. So let's say acting school is so cool because we have beautiful cooperation with them. And that way we can often organize theater play for kids acting for kids, and provide our young users with a great and quality time in the library. And it is, let's say, win-win situation because it is also useful for young actors as well. They can practice public performance and deal with the stage fright and everything. We have also very good cooperation with publishing houses. It is so important because we have no budget, and that way they bring writers to the library so kids can meet them and talk with them about books, about writing, inspirations, ideas. They can meet illustrators as well. And the most important thing is that kids get more attached to books and reading and to the library. And these meetings build memories for all life. So one other good example of partnership, every year as the public library, we take part in the very significant manifestation Days of Belgrade. And we created on our own, I don't know, some programs and everything, but last year we celebrated big times thanks to the joint work. We found partner, Eduard, NGO organization, active in organizing educative and creative programs for children and youth. So we gave them our library space and we invited young users and gave them opportunity to learn a lot about Belgrade in 19th century, about social and cultural life of that time through dance, through old crafts. They learned how to crochet, about fencing. So you can imagine how much fun children had, and it was a real example of creative, playful learning. We also have a good cooperation with public institutions, with the Institute of Public Health. We raise awareness every year among children about importance of healthy life and Health Week. So during the European Week of Public Health, we organize a cycle of workshops in the library about health and healthy food and healthy styles. And children participate in drawing contest organized by the Health Institute. And then in the library, we organize an exhibition of children's drawings so they can come with their parents, with their teachers and preschool teachers to visit that exhibition and to participate in our workshops. And recently, we got a call from one Serbian library. They wanted to visit us during this winter break, but they wanted something special, some interesting program for their kids. So we create a bunch of great create activities. And we invited kids, our kids as well. So they had a really great time there. They exchange a lot of ideas, a lot of games, such as guessing book title games through pantomime and some others. So it was really very useful and a very important image for our library. During the summer, we had one granny, ex-belly dancer, as a volunteer in our library. So it was a very lovely dancing summer for kids. And we had one mom. She's very skillful in working with clay. So she organized some workshops for kids as volunteers. So as I said, we librarians can't know everything and can't do everything by ourselves, but we can find the right persons and realize ideas. One good example of a joint work as well with this puppetry lady. This was an amazing experience. Kids learn a lot, and we librarians learn so much about making puppets. So you see, I made this great dragon, and I use it a lot in my workshops, and kids absolutely love it. And all because this great workshop we had in our library with a partner. We are almost there. This was also an amazing experience of collaboration with an organization that created a storytelling project. It's a story time, an actor and two artists. They run that project in our library for free for our young users. And we librarians, we picked stories suitable for kids ages 4 to 8 because it's our specialty. And then they really pulled some real magic in front of our eyes. They prepared that stories and they adapted them, and they make them come to, let's say, to life. And thanks to that joint work, we learned so much. We got some incredible ideas and insights, and we applied some new methods in our work with kids. And today, our children department is really famous for storytelling sessions that now we librarians do that by ourselves. And the last thing for today, I just want to present you briefly an amazing supercalifragilistic project. It's a collaboration of 10 Serbian libraries working together, organizing an online poet recitation competition. This project lasts 5 months, and during that period, children aged 9 to 14, they got for free online mentors, Serbian poets, and they learn how to write poetry and how to recitate as professionals. And at the end of that project, because there is a small competition, they get some awards for best participants, and libraries organize a celebration, and mentors, they come to meet the participants, and it's a really big thing. It's not an easy project because it needs no budget almost at all, because everything is online except for the end, but it needs good coordination and organization. But kids, they got so much, they got richer for one incredible experience and new skills, and it's really worth effort. So for the end, although we have no budget and some system solutions for cooperation and partnership, we really have to continue to put our personal effort and enthusiasm and to get to know our community, because as we can see, there are a lot of talented and skillful people around us, parents of our users, grandparents of our users. And we have to have also some planned actions, of course, and to connect more with libraries. So after this webinar, I will definitely apply to find a sister library, and I can't wait to become the part of this amazing program we are witnessing today. So thank you very much, and really let's cooperate. This is my email, so you can write me, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Yasna. It's very interesting. And now we are moving to our last but not the least presentations. Today it's from Robin Gibson, Youth Services Manager from Westerville Public Library. It was earlier, as far as I understand. Now Fairfield Country District Library, I'm sorry, Ohio, United States. And Maria Alexiuson, she's Director of Gislaved Library, Deputy Head of Culture in Gislaved, Sweden. Welcome, dear friends.
Thank you, Anton. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. And well, we have a presentation for you as well. I could start by presenting myself, Maria Alexiusson, and I work in Gislaved, as you heard, as a library director. I've been working there since in 24 years, and I'm also head of culture at this moment. And please, Robin.
Yes, and I am Robin Gibson, and I was the Youth Services Manager at the Westerville Public Library in Ohio until this past December of 2022, and now I'm at a nearby library. So I'm here to talk about, the sister library relationship between Westerville and Gislaved.
Yes, and it's been a journey. We have been together for quite many years.
I think since 2011. So
yeah, more than 10 years. Okay, and here you see where we are located. Gislaved is in the south of Sweden, and Westerville in the east of USA in Ohio. And we started. Yes, we'll start with my library.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Gislaved Library, where we our library is in 2 floors, as you can see. We rebuilt our library in 2007, and before that, the children's part of the library was very small. And when we rebuilt it, 1 floor is for the children. So they have a very big place, and it's very important that they have big place. And I think the next picture you see, we don't have bookshelves everywhere, as we have a big open space that we can use for when we have authors visiting or other activities and programs.
All right. And now we're at the Westerville Library. We also have a large children's area, of which I was the manager. So this, our big red wall kind of introduces you to that area. Our newest addition is on the right of your screen, which is a giant kind of Peg-Bright board. So which kids and parents, I gotta say people of all ages, love this new interactive play area. So, and then as you come into the children's area, you can see again, there's lots of open spaces. And then as you go further back, there are more play spaces. There is even a tree house. So large play area for the younger kids. Lots of activities focused on early literacy, lots of things for families. So I think both Westerville and Gislaved have really appealing children's areas and areas for young people. And I was fortunate enough to be able to visit Gislaved. I was going to say, and the librarians back in Westerville I mean, everybody loved that frying pan, Maria. I mean, the kids, that's such a wonderful play structure that you have in IFLA. And in the middle picture, IFLA is different than Westerville in that they have branches. And in the middle picture, the person in the middle was Elizabeth, actually initiated our sister library program. So at the Anderstorp branch, if I'm remembering that right, is that correct, Maria?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, one of our 6 branches. And she was the pioneer here. Yes, and 7 years ago.
And then, yeah, fortunately, the following year, fortunate accident of geography. IFLA was in 2016, was in Columbus. And so Maria was able to visit Westerville, which is just outside Columbus. And we were able to present together about sister libraries as part of the IFLA World Congress. So
yeah, that was very exciting to do that. And then we presented and talked about things we had done so far together at our libraries. And it was very nice to come to Westerville. I didn't think I would, but very fortunate that the Congress was just there.
Yes. And so we thought today we would talk about things that we have happened, mostly since those visits and everything. And I will say also, when we started the Sister Library Partnership, again, I didn't expect to be able to visit IFLA either. And that was, it's just, I have an interest in Sweden and happened to be there. So the visits were kind of a nice surprise, and they definitely enriched the partnership, but they weren't something that kind of we foresaw at the outset. So I'll just say you never know what might happen when you start this kind of a partnership.
Yes, and since the last years, there has been the pandemic, as you know. We met digitally and started to talk about what we could do together now that everybody was on Teams or whatever. And it came up with this great idea, and you were very much involved, Robin, in this. So I think it's best that you talk about this.
Yeah. Yes, and in some ways, it's kind of sad that it took a pandemic to get us to realize that we could do a virtual book club. But so at first we met during the pandemic online, and we're just kind of talking, as others said earlier, just about how things were handled, differently in different countries and with different libraries. And then we had the idea of doing a book club. We concentrated on graphic novels, knowing those have a very high appeal for teens in both countries. This program was geared for ages 11 to 18, so kind of middle school in the United States and up. We picked that age partly because by about that time, the Swedish tweens and teens were able to communicate in English. Since we don't have any Swedish speakers in the United States. So I feel it's really fortunate too that we're talking in English today. I mean, that's a luxury I know you all don't have, and I'm amazed that you're presenting in another language often for many of you. So that was a big thing. So that was why that age group was chosen partly. We had to deal with some things like, what time is a good time? Because, teens don't like to get up in the morning. So it was 11 a.m. in the United States, and it was 5 p.m. in Sweden. So we came up with a time that we thought was like not too early, and also, not too late to interfere with other teens' activities. And we met 3 times to start with. Our first meeting was just a fun meeting with the teens to get to know each other. It was one of our most fun sessions where they just kind of started to open up just to talk about stories of school. We came up with some prompts, I would say, for each time for discussion, but we mostly tried to let the tweens and teens lead the conversation and, see where that would take them. Because the teens have some things in common and then, some things that were very different. We talked about like the driving age in the United States is 16, but it's not until 18 in Sweden. And so we learned about, Maria, you'll know more about these. They're the EPA tractors, that it's legal to drive a farm tractor in the north of Sweden when you're 16. So,
Yeah,
there was
that's
some.
right. It's called EPA, EPA. It
Okay.
can be a real car, but you make things with it so you can't drive more than 30 kilometers, and then you only have a moped. You don't have to have a driver's license for it. So on our
Yeah.
streets there are many of these EPA.
Yeah. So that was really interesting for our teens to learn about. And then they just talked about like their favorite candies, like what kind of candy is available in the US and what is in Sweden. Again, what games do they like to play? They had lots of those things in common. What their pets were. I guess there were lots of pets on Zoom during the pandemic, so the teens talked about those too. And then we talked about 2 graphic novels. The Lumberjane series, fortunately, has been translated into Swedish, which is also interesting to see. To me, always what's been translated and what hasn't. And that's a really popular series in the US too. And it was also available digitally on our Hoopla service, so it was really easily available. The other book we read was the first of the Northern Lights series. It's called The Valley of the Trolls. And that's a Norwegian artist. Her name is Malin Fauch. And this was an interesting kind of issue for us to work around because it was translated into English, but it was only published for the British market. And to my knowledge, it's not available in the United States yet, which is really too bad because the artwork is appealing. And Maria, I know Carolina went to a great extent to buy copies for us and send those to the US, and she had to go through all kinds of custom regulations. But that also made our teens feel just so incredibly special. They had a book that no one else, in the US was reading. So, and it was a story that it's kind of infused with Norse mythology. And so that also, brought a cultural element to the whole discussion and the whole project. Yeah. So that was, one of the most fun and successful things that we did. And we can move on to the story trail now.
Yes, I can start.
Yes.
The story trail, story walk. That's also an idea that we came up with together to make a story trail in Gislaved and one in Westerville, and that those story trails would show the same pictures. And we wanted to use the book Hundpromenaden of the Swedish author Sven Nordqvist, The Dog Walk in English. This book has no letters, it's only pictures, and for that it's perfect for all the children to look at these pictures, and they don't have to read because there are no letters or words. We contacted the publisher, Sven Nordqvist and his publishers, and asked and told them about the project that we wanted to do, and they thought it was a good idea. So we made a contract to buy this, to be able to have his pictures on this story trail, on these. Well, as you also see on the picture, they are quite close to the ground so that the children can look at them. So we made a contract with them, and the contract said we could use them in Gislaved and also in Westerville. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and this was wonderful. It's a wordless book, and it's also kind of a hide and seek book. So you can see this is at the story trail, the picture in Westerville of the kids looking. You look for the dog kind of on each page as he travels through many fanciful landscapes. So again, this is an example. I mean, Sven Nordqvist is iconic in Sweden, and I would say he's probably less well known in the United States, sadly. So for me, this was a great opportunity to bring, again, another element of Swedish culture, you know, to kids in the United States. And we were lucky, again, with you all getting the digital rights. It was wonderful to be able to have them to reproduce. The pictures are so rich and vibrant and detailed that having those digitally and being able to, you know, share them that way was wonderful. Yeah. So we've done the first program they talked about was, you know, a synchronous virtual, you know, program together. And then I think maybe over the years we've done more of these type of parallel programs where we brainstorm together and we have you know, an idea that is in Westerville and also in Gislaved is implemented. So there are different ways of doing programming. And then other things I think we do in parallel. I'm not sure, Maria, when did you all start the pop-up libraries?
Well, it was maybe in 2015 or something, I think.
Yes, I think you were pre-pandemic with this. Yeah.
Yes. We drove around in the different cities, or what do you say, in Gislaved, and had our library with us. And well, as you see in the pictures here. And at the beginning, we also had we were able to have concerts together with others in Gislaved municipality. But this is the picture here is just the pop-up library that we have been working with ever since. Yes, and you have the same.
Well, we have a somewhat in Westerville, we have a book bike. We have other, and we also do outreach and go out to the park. I was saying again, we did this pre-pandemic, but probably more during the pandemic itself, taking the library outside. Yeah, and to meeting people where they are. So that would be another kind of sort of parallel type program. And then one thing that you know, I feel like really came out of my visit to Gislaved was my thinking about where to put books in other languages in the United States. And because they had this, you know, face out shelving bins in Gislaved with the different languages. And I know both our communities have rapidly changing demographics, more diverse people, more, communities, and it just keeps growing. And in the United States, our section for languages would usually be in the nonfiction. So one of the things I did in my library when we came back was to pull those out, and we created a world language collection, which is now over 40 different languages. And this was a real collaboration within the library in that our collection development librarian really started looking for different languages. We also talked to the schools about which languages they were seeing in the community, you know, so we would know where to look for and what languages to look for. Central Ohio has a large Somali community, so we knew about that, but we had an increasing Nepali community. And in this past year, Westerville has a large number of Portuguese speakers in one school is seeing. So that really helped, you know, guide the languages that we purchase. And because we wanted to call them world languages rather than foreign languages, when we were looking for, this is just a little detail, like stickers to put on the books, our tech services department actually created our own sticker for that project, because, you know, for these communities, they're not foreign languages, they're their languages, they are world languages. So that's one of the things that kind of came indirectly out of those professional exchanges and those visits to each other.
Yes, and then some things that what we have learned that we would like to share with you during our collaboration during these years, and that it takes time to build this partnership, and it's share ideas, programming services. It happens over time. You can think about something, and maybe next year you'll be able to do it. So it's a great to have this collaboration, and that we have different perspectives, and that we get different perspectives due to this all these communications that we have during staff and to our children that are visiting us. Yes, and then there's surprises too. Would you like to tell about that, Robin?
Yeah, it's just like we said, being able to visit wasn't an initial consideration, but it was a really nice surprise. And COVID gave us the opportunity to collaborate in new ways, like with the book club. And when I was looking back through my things, Maria, I remembered this in May 2020 that IFLA had challenged Westerville to the blinding lights challenge that everyone was going through. And I just, looking back, I was just struck by, how in the middle of all of the uncertainty going on around the world, that you all, were able to do something so fun and joyous and send that to us. And so, of course, Westerville had to respond. So those videos are just a fun thing that you could watch at another time. But a lovely surprise that came out of the collaboration. So.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to the future as well. Well, that's it. Thank you, Robin.
Yes.
Yeah, friends, thank you very much to all the presenters. It was very, very interesting. And now we're ready to watch what is in Q&A. There is one very interesting question from Anastasia. I'll make it aloud. So a question for everyone. Do you think libraries from similar or different cultures, example, Gracia, a library from a European town versus from an African or Asian city, should become sister libraries? Will cultural differences enrich practices exchange or make it more difficult and less applicable? What do you think about it? Everyone can answer. As for me, of course, I think that it's even better if it's different cultures, because in this situation, everyone can take additional information, additional emotions, a different views on life. Sometimes it's very difficult for other people to understand why people in other countries do what they do. And it's impossible to understand them if you don't know about their culture, about their traditions. And only if you know about their traditions, you can get a possibility to understand them. So as for me, and we always say about it, that the most challenging, the most interesting variant of sistership is not about the same, just say the same, it's not always the same, but almost the same cultures. But it's most interesting if you can involve people from absolutely different cultures and traditions. Maybe someone can say anything else. Okay, dear friends, thank you very much. So we've got 4 different presentations, and I think you all can understand that it's all about your own fantasy. It's all about your own fantasy of how to build this partnership, of what can be involved in this partnership. It can be simple, it can be much more advanced, but it all depends on you, on your own. Nobody else will help you to make this partnership really interesting. So I just want to say thank you again to all the presenters today. And I hope we'll be able to see soon, not only via these Zoom sessions, but also to see everyone in real life. Thank you again to everyone, and bye-bye. Oh, I'm just forget about one thing. let's make a photo of all of us, and let's make a smile. Yes, wait a bit. Wait. Yes, turn on your cameras, please. That's great. How many of us? Yes, so. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear friends. See you soon. Bye-bye.